Hello, friend. I'm Lily Rose, and this is Through the Ashes, a podcast about grief and the quiet ways we grow because of it, not in spite of it. I'm so glad you're here. Quick note before we begin, I am not your therapist. I'm just a person who's walked through loss and found that healing isn't a straight line, it's a circle. If you are in acute crisis, please reach out to a professional or a trusted support line. Let's begin. There's something no one really warns you about when it comes to grief: the ambush of anniversaries, the date, the season, the smell in the air. They arrive quietly, but the body remembers. Maybe it's the sound of a song in the grocery store, or the same slant of light coming through the window. And suddenly, your heart is right back in the moment it broke. I remember when it happened to me for the first time. I was just grocery shopping, lost in thought, when I saw a man who looked exactly like my husband. My heart sank. For a moment, time folded in one itself, and I was back there that night. I could see myself sitting in the dining room, frozen, in complete shock. I could hear the ambulance, the footsteps, the voices rushing up the stairs, and I remember whispering to myself, "This isn't real. Please wake up." It wasn't until later that I realized it happened 2 days before the anniversary of his passing. My body remembered before my mind did. It was as if some part of me was reliving every second of that night without my permission. Grief has a way of looping time like that, quietly reminding you that healing isn't linear. And then you think, I should be okay by now. Or worse, someone else says it for you. But here's the truth: anniversaries are not setbacks, they're reminders. Our nervous system keeps its own kind of calendar. Even when the mind moves forward, the body remembers the loss, the shock, the silence, the goodbye. It's not weakness, it's wiring. For me, it's the week leading up to it that is the hardest. I don't always see it coming. And then I'm short tempered, tired, foggy. For a while, I thought I was regressing, but then I realized my body was just preparing. Now that I know this, I try to meet that week with something softer. I light a candle in the morning, not to relieve the loss, but to honor love. I share funny stories with my son, and on the day of, we usually write messages on biodegradable balloons and send them to the sky. Gentle rituals, not grand gestures. Something to keep his memory alive, but still allow us to heal through it. Because healing isn't about performing your grief, it's about tending to it. So, if you have ever been blindsided by any anniversaries, here's a reframe: you are not falling apart again. You are visiting a sacred scar. And like all sacred things, it deserves care. Try this if you want a small ritual for those days. I call it the Ember Ritual. 1. Notice what is happening. the heaviness, the tears, the anxiety. You're not doing anything wrong. You're just remembering. 2. Name the love behind it. Example: I miss you because you mattered. I miss you because you're important. 3. Nourish yourself with something kind. A tea, a nap, a walk, a playlist that feels safe. 4. Release one expectation. Maybe the idea that you should be better by now. This is your process, and it's very personal. If it's not serving you, just release it. And about those shoulds, let's talk about them. They come dressed as advice. You should be over it. You should celebrate, not mourn. You should move on. But grief doesn't live by their calendar. It lives by loves. It lives by memories. When people say should, it often comes from discomfort. They want your pain to be tidy because it reminds them of their own. But your healing doesn't need their permission. You don't have to shrink your grief to make others comfortable. If you need to cry, cry. If you need to skip the party, skip it. If you want to tell stories, light candles, or say their name out loud, do it. There's no wrong way to remember love. Even if remembering for you means silence, that's also okay. Again, it's your grief. Here's today's tiny tool: the 3G grounding: gentle, gratitude, grace. Gentle. Ask, what's the gentlest thing I can do for myself today? Gratitude. Name one thing they gave you that still lives on. And grace. Give yourself permission to not be okay. Give yourself permission to heal. If this episode finds you near a grief anniversary, I want you to know you are not weak for still feeling it. You are human for still loving. Maybe this year you write them a letter. Maybe you plant something, cook something, create something. Or maybe you do nothing at all, and that's okay too. There is no one right way through the ashes. There's only your way. This show isn't a lecture, it's a circle. I love to hear what helps you through those tough anniversaries. Your rituals, your moments, your stories. Share them with me at throughtheashes@outlook.com. Tell me your first name, where you're listening from, and if I can share your message in a future episode. Next week, we'll talk about how love transforms after loss and the quiet ways we stay connected to those who are gone. If this episode met you where you are, it will mean so much if you will follow the show and share it with someone who might need to hear that they are not alone. We rise, maybe not fast, maybe not pretty, but we rise. I'm Lily Rose, and this is Through the Ashes. See you next week.